Good morning, good afternoon. Thanks for attending the Oracle Integration Customer Success webcast. I'm Jürgen Kress, part of the Oracle Product Management team. In case you missed one of our webcasts, on-demand recordings are available at Oracle Video Hub, including presentation for download. In today's presentation, Everhard Wienke from KPN will give us insights how they implemented Oracle integration and the role it played to move from Oracle Business Suite to Oracle ERP SaaS services. Good morning, Everhard.
Yes, good morning, Jürgen. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for presenting your customer case. So you are the product owner at KPN.
One of the product owners, but I'm the product owner of OCI, the KPN tenant of OCI, which includes, of course, OIC. Yes,
So
Oracle.
KPN is one of the leading Oracle telco providers in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And you implemented Oracle integration, and with that, you moved from a business suite to Oracle SaaS.
Yeah, that is correct. We successfully completed that journey last year. So we're now live for almost 1.5 years, I think.
Excellent. So we will get some details today, and Anand Prasad is with us. Anand, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Jürgen.
So you will show us even a short demo of the Oracle Integration Cloud you implemented.
Yes, actually, a new project we are doing now for migrating using Oracle Integration Cloud.
Cool. Let's kick it off. So quick housekeeping, please ask your questions via the Q&A tool anytime. Recording and slides will be available at Oracle Video Hub. And for more information, please visit the Oracle resource page. Please share your feedback at the end of the webcast, and we will post announcements and links in the conference chat. Please pay attention to the Oracle Safe Harbor statement. And for today's agenda, I will kick off the call with a quick introduction and announcements and resources where you can find more information about Oracle integration. And then we will hand over to the KPN team to give us all the details about the customer case. And we will wrap up with the Q&A at the end of the webcast. Oracle integration is part of the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure free trial program. You can build, test, and deploy Oracle integration and connect your applications. The trial is valid for up to 30 days. As part of the documentation, we also offer training materials, so make use of the live labs to build your proof of concept together with the free trial. If you would like to work with an expert who has implemented Oracle integration before, you can search for certified partners at Partner Finder, and you can search Oracle Cloud Marketplace for certified cloud implementation partners, and you can also find in the Cloud Marketplace third-party certified adapters and accelerators. If you would like to ask additional questions and share your feedback, please collaborate at Cloud Customer Connect. There you can post your questions, you can submit innovations, and you can earn badges. We run a product update webcast with the latest product news every quarter. The last one we did run right after Oracle Cloud World, including the Cloud World announcements and the presentations we did run there. You see also some live demos of Oracle robotic process automation. So make sure you watch the webcast on demand and you register for the upcoming webcasts. All material from Oracle Cloud World, including Deepak Arora's keynote session and all the other integration sessions, is available. So you can download them at bit.ly/watch Oracle Cloud World 2024. And you can find a guide with all the sessions also online. There are some really good sessions like low-code development, like best practice sessions from Anthony Reynolds, also the session from Anthony and Nathan. So make sure you get the material at the website. As part of Oracle Cloud World, we hosted an integration summit If you didn't have the chance to attend it at the Summit website, you can now find also the presentations. Today's webcast is recorded and will be published at Oracle Video Hub, including the presentation for download. So please subscribe to receive the latest updates. All information I just presented is published in the quarterly customer newsletter, including upcoming events, including the latest product information, blog posts from the team, success stories, white papers, and trainings. So it's definitely worth to subscribe to the newsletter. With this short update, I would like to hand over to the KPN team. Everhard, over to you.
Yeah, let me share my screen. 1 second. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about KPN's journey into the OIC solution from Oracle. I'm going to do this presentation together with my colleague Anada Prasad. Well, I'm the product owner. He's the guy who can actually do it. So with that, I would like to show you the agenda. I'll do a quick introduction of KPN. Who's KPN? Then our journey from the on-premise environment to the cloud. Why we selected Oracle Integration Cloud. And then how we grew the solution by using other components in OCI. And I'll tell you something about the integration and customizations we have. Some learnings we have and some future developments and integrations that we are working on and will be working on in the future. And then we'll conclude with a demo of one of the developments we're in the middle of, which is, I think, quite interesting. So we're a telecom company in the Netherlands with mobile subscribers, broadband, wholesale, business market, and consumer market. We try to be a social, sensible company, and we are a green company as well in the color of the company, but also in the electricity market. Yeah. So what did we do? In 2019, we decided to move from our on-premise EBS environment to a new solution, being a cloud solution. And we looked at several solutions, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, Oracle. And in 2020, we selected Oracle as the leading, being the leading provider for ERP solutions as our partner. Together with Deloitte and Oracle, we started the migration from the on-premise solution to the cloud solution. We did that in basically 4 phases, which the first phase was 1st of January 2022, which we went live with the HCM solution. And then we had several intermediate solutions, and the big release was last year, beginning of April. We spent a week in cutting over from the on-premise solution to the cloud solution with supply chain, procurement, projects, and finance. And to be honest, it was quite a successful move because as we anticipated several big issues after go live, but in the end we only had 0, which was good. Lots of smaller ones, but no big incidents. So that was a good one. We had during the project some guiding principles from our architects, and that were the 2 ones that were always repeated during the project to everybody was Oracle to the max, meaning we wanted to have as much use of the Oracle functionality that we have bought and not connect other systems if not absolutely needed, and fit to standard. That means don't customize. In the on-premise solution, we had, I think, hundreds of customizations. And in the new solution, we only have 3. 1 for project management, 1 for supply chain, small one, and 1 for procurement. 1 for HCM did not make it. I'll come back to that a bit later. We also decided on using Oracle Integration Cloud. And that was mainly because of all of the seeded integrations with Oracle Cloud applications, which would make integrating our solution to the rest of the KPN landscape easy. If you look at the KPN landscape before we migrated, this is a picture. I won't go into it at length, but you can see it's connected to everything, our ERP system. So we had lots of data dumps, lots of integrations, poor documentation, and everything was connected to everything. We had over 300 integrations. Now, what did we do to solve that? We had a couple of problems. We had two source systems. We had an outsourced HR system and an on-premise Oracle EBS. We did not have a list of integrations or a good overview, and we had no standards for developing integration. So all the teams working on these platforms just did what they liked. Now, what did we do to solve this? So we had lots of workshops with lots of stakeholders. We made a big Excel with all the integrations that everybody came up with and all the details around it. And then we came to a list of more than 300 integrations that we had in the old environments. The next thing we did was, together with the Oracle consultants, we came up with integration patterns. Which patterns do we want to use for standardizing how we connect the new platform to the outside world? And then as a last part, what we did, we made a very strict process for developing integrations. So we had a process which we used throughout the project, but also we're still using the same process, slightly modified, but we're still using it, which takes into account which steps we take, which documentation we create, what should be in the documentation, reviews by people in the development phase, and also best practices. Then we started initially with a simple setup. So we had the facing applications which we needed to integrate with. We had Oracle Cloud, and we had Oracle Integration Cloud connecting the two. That was the first plan. But soon we came to the conclusion that was not enough. So we added a file server, external file server. We do not use the internal file server because we have more flexibility. Next, we had to connect object storage to it for BICC extracts. Next step, we added a database, an autonomous database, to store information used in integrations. Then we added an API gateway for security. So Oracle Integration Cloud has limited security features, and API gateway can add some. Then we added CloudGuard also for security to monitor the solution if everything is set up properly and we don't make mistakes. And lastly, we started using logging analytics for monitoring integrations. Mainly the high volume integrations, which we have some of, which run thousands of times per hour. And for monitoring the OIC, at least OIC version 2 was not good enough. Lastly, we also added a new cloud platform, Oracle Field Service, which is completely separate from the ERP in our case, using the same infrastructure, so we could reuse all the components for another customer. One of the learnings we had was that we did not know which integrations we had before we started. And we didn't want to make the same mistake again. So what we did, also as an exercise, we developed a Visual Builder application called Vogel, in which we register all the integrations and all the operational information belonging to it, which is not stored in the integration itself, in the tool. And from there we manage it, and we give all the functional teams access to their own integrations to maintain it. So we source destination, operational context, what it's doing. But because it's running in Visual Builder, and Visual Builder is running in OIC, we can also connect it to the actual integration itself. So we can also let the teams trigger in acceptance their own integrations. And we have segregated per team the integrations, and everybody can see everything, but they can only manipulate their own integrations. It was a very nice exercise for the team, which was new during the project, to get to know the environment a bit. Now then, some learnings we had during this journey. It is very important that at the start, especially if you use a partner, you don't have a lot of knowledge yourself yet, to get clarity on do's and don'ts in integration building. Like we have the design patterns, but afterwards we recognize that we should have probably done more. What should you do? What should you not do during building phase? And if you intend to build your own, especially after the project, start on time with training. Don't wait until the project is over. Start playing, spin up your playground, OIC environment, and do some fun exercises. We built, for example, for a fair within the company, we built some fun integrations connecting to Spotify. And yeah, we just played around a bit, connecting it to Slack. And also make sure that the team does the trainings that are available on Oracle University. Now also important that, so we still have a lot of file-based integrations. Make sure that the logic is in SaaS, the BIP reports or HCM extracts. Don't put the logic in the integration, so you can separate the functional from the technical side more easily. So if an integration, if the report needs to be changed, the functional team can do it. The integration does not change. Same goes for real-time integrations. The business logic should, if you can avoid it, not be in the integration, because it will always give a dependency on the integration if you want to change the business logic. This is very important. I know Anthony also stressed this at Cloud World this year. I wish I'd done it a year earlier. Only use OAuth, not basic authentication. Because authentication is done by, it's called domains now, it was called IDCS. But if you use basic authentication, each call is authenticated, and if lots of calls, the IDCS gets overloaded and you get 429 errors. They call them, that's the HTTP error code you get. We unfortunately had this issue. All our integrations were developed by an Oracle team, but they used a lot of basic authentication. And after, I think, a year of running, we've had a authentication storm, giving us like, it looked like downtime, but basically it was an overload of the authentication engine. Actually, we did two things. We moved most of our integrations now to OAuth, and we also upgraded the domain from I think normal level to enterprise level, giving it a bit more capacity. But OAuth will solve that issue anyway. Now, parent-child integrations, always use a local invocation. Don't use any other type. It will also save load on the authentication engine. Also very important, we're using logging analytics like we did. This is mainly true for ORC version 2. ORC version 3 solves this, luckily. Use log statements instead of enabling tracing. Enabling tracing will give so much load on the logging analytics that in the end, if you have a lot of integration runs, you will lose information. So there's also a learning we had a bit the hard way, unfortunately. And also very important, only use very short-lived synchronous integrations. Don't put your logic in the synchronous integration. Let it just receive the message, give back, I received it, and then spin off a second integration, which is asynchronous, and put your logic in there. It can be a bit longer lived. Yeah. And lastly, move to OIC version 3. I can't stress this enough. If you're starting new, you don't have a choice, but it's a big improvement on OIC version 2, which was already good, but OIC version 3 is better. Yeah, so a bit about customizations. Like I said, we only have 3. Using Visual Builder for that, with integrations running in OIC, of course. We had a bit of doubt, to be honest, about a year ago if we wanted to continue with Visual Builder, because it was hard to find people for it, to develop stuff, and we also were not sure that Oracle was continuing on this path, because also Apex is quite big, and Apex can do basically the same things. But then we found out that with the Redwood team, the whole of Fusion environment would move to Visual Builder anyway, so we needed the knowledge to be available in the teams. So we decided to move on. It is quite easy to start a small enhancement, but to be honest, I would definitely avoid making a huge application in Visual Builder. It's very easy to integrate it into Fusion, to make it look and feel for the user as it's one solution. That is an advantage from the user point of view, of course. But there are some security things you need to be aware of. KPN is very, very strict on security. So every application we build is pen tested. Even if we buy it, it's pen tested always. And before we went live last year, we had a pen test, and there were several issues found of the solution that was built. That mainly has to do with that Visual Builder is running client side, meaning it's on your laptop. And if you put a hacking tool on your laptop, you can intercept the traffic and can manipulate the traffic, meaning the integrations that are called or the APIs that are called have to be secure. So the security is on the server side. Now that was not built in that way, so we had a lot of issues actually solving those issues. So it's good to be aware of this. And also important is if you do a small enhancement, it's more like configuration, but if you really start to make serious customizations, it is programming, it's not configuration, meaning you have to follow coding principles. It's not just slapping something together and hope it will stay working. It really has to follow coding principles. Small modules, reusable modules, documentation, remarks in the code. Actually, Oracle has a very good tool, Visual Builder Studio, to develop this in. It's nicely connected to a Git, as a repository. So it's quite well facilitated. A little bit on how we organize this, like already a bit touched upon. So we're using OCI. Mainly, we started with using OCI for integrations. But nowadays, we're also doing other things in OCI. Picture depicts nicely here. So my team is at the bottom. It's called Team Spirit. And we do OCI, but mainly we do OIC and things around this for integrations. But nowadays, we have lots of teams at the Oracle Fusion part. There's 4 teams working with integrations on top of the OCI platform. But we also have other teams now with Cloud and Customer, Maya being OFS. We have some Apex teams. And we are now actually in the process of moving the document system called WCC as an infrastructure as a service to OCI. And actually the question mark is already filled in. There's another project starting now. I cannot talk about it yet. It's also a huge thing. We'll use Kubernetes on OCI, meaning we'll revamping the team a bit in more to a platform team and an integration team. But we're using it more and more as a generic platform OCI. So not only for OIC anymore. Maybe something about future developments, actually not all future. So we're in the process of moving to OIC version 3. Now Oracle offers a way of doing this, which is Oracle managed, meaning it's a big bang. You do all your integrations in one go. Now, after, of course, testing them first in a lower environment. But for us, that was not a doable solution because we had so many teams working on OIC that we could not manage to get them all together to test in one time window. So we decided to do on a customer managed migration, meaning we spin up new OIC instances, version 3. We migrate stream by stream. We're in the progress of doing that. We have actually the first stream will go live this week, Thursday. That's tomorrow. That's a small one, but it's a nice one to bring the first one live. Now I see version 3. The rest is in the pipeline, either in development test or moving to acceptance. But it will still be a lot of work, and then we still have to do the customizations. Those are not planned yet. And we need to finish that before middle of next year, which will be a sort of a challenge. Then the other one, we'll give the demo about this, that we are using a TIBCO bus at the moment within KPN, and we want to move that to Kafka as a solution. I'll tell something more about it in a moment. It's a big project. It's in progress. It was already planned during the move to Fusion, but then we decided it was a too big a change to incorporate into the move from on-premise to the cloud platform. We are already using logging analytics, but there are way more features in there. And as I heard in Cloud World this year, that it is the strategic direction of the OIC team as well, that it's moving to logging analytics more and more, and we're using it. They see the dashboards, but we also want to start using it for alerting. There's some nice alerting features in logging analytics, which we want to explore and filter out the relevant events for us to be triggered on. We are now using mails as alerting mechanisms, but we just get too many. That's not granular enough. We're going to use the WAF, the Web Application Firewall, as an extra layer of security for inspecting messages for the real-time traffic. We're definitely going to use the private endpoint. For that, we need to move to OIC 3 first. That will save us the connectivity agent to connect to our internal systems. It's also on my bucket list is the ACLs, filter more granularly who can connect to OIC to improve our security posture. And a very nice feature I learned at Cloud World this year was disaster recovery. It's only available now in the US, I think, but it will come to Europe, and I will definitely look into this and will probably use it to prepare for any disaster. We're now in the Frankfurt region with our environments. It is multiple availability domains, but yeah, if Frankfurt has a big problem, then I would like to be able to recover still. Then a little bit to prepare for the demo, explain what we have now. I said our current situation is on the right-hand side. You see Oracle Cloud, you see OIC and logging analytics. The M stands for monitoring, logging analytics monitoring. We use an API gateway and we connect to a TIBCO bus. And this was the architecture which KPN decided upon, I think 15 years ago or something. And I think 150, 200 applications at least are connected to this TIBCO bus. Now TIBCO is used to be fancy technology, but nowadays it's a bit old-fashioned. It's also very costly. So KPN decided to move away from the TIBCO bus with no hard deadline yet. We have, for the supply chain processes, we have roughly 10 CRM ordering systems connected to it. And we have around 3 logistic suppliers connected to it, which handle our warehouses, which are outsourced. And the problem is that we need to move away from the TIBCO bus. But the second problem is the TIBCO bus is managed by another team. And every queue patching or every integration change that we do like 2 a month, 3 a month on supply chain, it gives a dependency on the other team. So they need to stop the messages flowing to OIC. Then we need to do the change, and then we need to empty the buffer again and monitor if it's working again. So it is working, but it's not very convenient. It always gives us more work to prepare for a change. Also, we have some requirements. So if we want to migrate, because we have many end systems which we need to connect to, we need to do the migration per endpoint. And we cannot ask all these endpoints to change at the same time. But not all messages flow to all end systems. So we also need to be able to do the migration per integration. We have roughly 20 integrations in the supply chain domain, each carrying a different type of message, like a sales order, a status update, an inventory change. I don't know all of the 20 of them, but there are roughly 20. Hard requirement is we want to decouple the transmitter and receiver as much as possible, meaning if the transmitter goes down, receiver has no problem. And if the receiver goes down, the transmitter doesn't have a problem. Now, very important also buffering and retransmit functionality. And the last one, solving the second problem, is become as independent as possible from other teams. So we can move independently from other teams. Now, what is our design for this high-level design? Still all slideware this part. So the same Oracle Cloud, OIC and LAM. You should still see the same TIBCO bus and LSPs and CRMs. But we connect the OIC environment also to Kafka. So within KPN, we have a fully redundant Kafka installation running, which is already used by many applications. It's managed by another team, but if you know the principle from Kafka, it is basically just you push something there and it stores it for you, and you can pull it from there whenever you want to, and then it's there. It will still be in the queue. The only thing we will change is the middleware. So we TIBCO replace it with Kafka. We don't change the messages themselves to limit the impact on the overall migration. I would like to move to a demo. So I'll show the picture first.
Yeah. Questions or
Want to do questions first?
Let's do the demo and then we handle all the questions together.
yeah. Hello. I'm audible. Hello. Maybe. Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, we can hear you. You have a little bit of echo.
Now fine.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Ananda.
Yep. So I think you're sharing. I'll share it later. But okay. So as Everhard explained about the new development or new migration that you are doing from like moving away from EI to Kafka. So this is basically, so I'll explain like one of the integrations. So we have so many integrations in supply chain in which we receive messages from CRM systems or LSPs, and also we send messages to them. So this is basically one of the integration, but most of the integrations have similar design. So we are following the similar pattern. So if it is an inbound or outbound, doesn't matter. So the basic principle here is, so whenever we receive a message from outside system, we always receive it, but then we also give a response back to the system saying whether the message has been successfully processed or not. So it's an asynchronous mechanism. And same also whenever it is an outbound integration, so we send message to a third-party system, and we also expect that third-party system to respond us back with the success or failure message. So this is currently as part of the current design, including EI. So we also want to stick to the same design principle in Kafka. So that there won't be much changes in the whole design. Maybe that's for later. Like in Kafka, I know there are other things possible. So you can do a lot of other things. But then just to not impact all the third parties, and also at our end, how the monitoring and other systems are connected. So just to keep that, so we still stick to that same principle of sending messages, and also we're expecting a response back. So if you can see the diagram here, so this is basically an outbound integration. This is one of our integration called integration 61. So we have some kind of numbering for that. So this is basically a publish item interface or integration, in which whenever there is a change in the item inside SaaS or ERA, or not ERA, Oracle Cloud, so it would give a business event. It would create a business event, and that business event needs to send to a third-party system, which expects whatever change would happen here, that message would go there, and then automatically their system will be updated. So as you can see this here, like on the top, that's Oracle Cloud. So here there's an ESS job. It can be triggered from OIC, or you can also schedule it inside SaaS. And then that is creating on the right arrow, that is item publication event. So that is creating the business event. And then that business event is listened in OIC as part of the event listener integration. But that integration is again calling. So basically this verifies the event, then it forms, does some kind of mappings and then other business logic, and then it triggers item request to LSP integration, which is basically the integration which currently push the message or does a REST API call towards EI, because currently EI is in production, or EI is doing the transfer or middleware as part of our KPN design. But in future, what will happen, as we explained, that we want to use EI as well as Kafka together. So 61 will send the same message to EI as well as Kafka. So there is a topic for us which we created. It will publish the same message to a topic, and then what would happen? So by system, so since we have so many applications, so what we can do, we can request different teams or different applications to migrate to Kafka one by one without impacting the entire structure. So what will happen? All the systems currently listening to EI, one by one, they will migrate to Kafka and then start reading this event from Kafka topic. So that's the plan. And then when they move to Kafka, so they will listen. This will listen the topic from listen the message from the topic, and then accordingly, currently they send the response back to us using EI service. But then they will publish their message of the response in another topic, which is kind of like response listening topic, and then we are listening to that topic, and then we'll figure it out whether the message has been successfully processed or not. So here, so this is the integration I was talking about. So basically, there are other so we have kind of like for every integration we have a package, and then different business events or business activities are done in different integrations. We divide. We are not using one integration to do entire all activities. So one is for listening, one is for calling, sending the message, one is for reading the response from the Kafka, so like that. So basically, there is no change in other integrations which are part of this entire business logic. So basically, there is only change we are doing in the integration, which is publishing the message to EI or TIPCO. So what we did basically here is like, so there is a if condition we added, and then we have created a lookup called lookup middleware. In this lookup middleware, we are defining which integration will use Kafka systems and what kind of third party it is. So if it is a Reconnects is one of our third party, Pega is another third party. So slowly, whenever there's a new system which will migrate to Kafka, we will put that system with a comma, add it, and then this if condition is checking if that system is part of this lookup or not. So if it is not, then it will send the message to EI. Basically, EI is a REST endpoint. But then if it is part of the system, so then it will follow this direction, and then it is towards the Kafka. But then in 61, we have a different mechanism in which we have two of the systems which move to Kafka, that is Reconnects and Pega. And since for security reasons, we are not using, you can do in Kafka, you can actually publish message into one topic and both of the systems can read it. But due to other security issues, so we have created two separate topics for both Pega and Reconnects. So here there is another if condition which is checking whether the payload has Reconnects as part of the target system or Pega as a target system. And accordingly, it is publishing the message to this one or that one. So that's the change. And similarly, in the listener. So basically here, what we was explaining, like there is another topic which we have to read the response. So this is the response integration, which is listening to the topic. And we don't care here. The response comes from different applications, and then we read it. And then accordingly, our monitoring system can check whether what happened to that message that we sent. So as part of demo, what I'll do, I will trigger a business event from SaaS. So basically, I have created different, so one for Pega and one for Reconnects. Just we see how it works. So process ID, search. So this is basically, I think, so whenever there is a change in the item, so this ESS job needs to be triggered to actually pick up that change and then trigger it as a business event. And then in OIC, we are listening that event with this integration. So it should trigger now. Yeah. Okay, cool. So at the same time, let me run another as well. When we look at this one, let's run for Pega. Okay, let's look at this one. So this is basically, it has only one item change for reconnects. So basically the event was listened, and then this integration triggered the item publish integration. And then if we look at the flow it took, so basically it did the same. So it checked whether the reconnects is part of, according to this lookup, it checked for integration 61, reconnect is part of this middleware lookup. Yes. So it followed this path. And then basically here it published the message to reconnects topic. And then the other one I just triggered. So let's check what happened. Okay, yeah. So for Pega, so that that particular item has multiple changes. So basically around 62, I believe, 65 something. So since that is the reason 65 events are triggered. And then if we look at one of them, so this is, you can see it is Pega. And then the first one was reconnects here. So basically, according to this target system, we are checking this condition, whether the message should be published in Pega topic or Kafka topic. So here you can see it is published in Pega. And once those systems listen or read this message, since this is a test environment, so they are not properly connected, but once they will listen to this or read this message and then process that message in their system, then automatically they will send us response back to this integration. So back to that the response topic, and then our integration receive response event will read them and then process. So basically that's it.
Okay.
So Everhard, thank you for the wonderful presentation, and thank you for the excellent demo. Let me summarize the webcast. So for more information, please visit our Oracle integration website. There you can also find a free trial. And as part of the documentation, you can use the live labs, which is a very good hands-on training to build a first demo or proof of concept. Like Everhard described, it's very valuable when you start your project to get some experience. For more information, you can visit the Oracle blog. The integration blog provides you with the latest updates from the product team, and please subscribe to the newsletter. Thanks for the excellent insight into the KPN project and the wonderful best practice and lesson learned. I was really impressed by your application that you did build in Visual Builder Cloud to create a catalog of all your integrations. So we have a couple of questions. So first of all, there's a question from Ali. He would like to know what is the major integrations trigger point? Was it SaaS or a third-party application?
For selecting OIC, that was definitely Oracle Fusion. Yes, because of the seeded integrations that are available.
So the pre-built application adapters for Oracle SaaS, that was definitely your big value add.
That saves a huge amount of time.
Yeah. How many message packs are you using of your Oracle integration instance?
At the moment, 11 in production.
So it's quite a massive implementation.
Yes. Yes.
And then he would like to know for the integration learnings on point 4, the business logic that you don't build the business logic in the integration. Maybe you can leverage and describe it some more details.
Yeah. Maybe it also has to do, let me show you this one. So how we are organized. So my team manages technology, so integrations. So we have less knowledge about the functionality. So we have functional teams which know all about the functionality. And the functional teams create the functional designs and we build them. And now there's always a discussion. Should the functional team also build the integration because they know what they need? But then again, the functional team also has a lot of functional knowledge and less technical knowledge. So then, how do you split the work? Now, we have chosen to split it functionally per stream and then one team that does the technology underneath. If you do that, then you don't want to have too much interaction, because if they're always waiting for us to do something, we're blocking their development. So if you can keep the business logic in the functional team, they can do all the business logic and we just do the integration and there's limited interaction required. That is the reason why we have selected to do this, but also our Oracle consultant, a very clever guy here in the Netherlands, Hakan, he also recommended not to put any business logic in there in our integration patterns. Also from learnings he had with other customers, that every time if you need to change something, you have to go back to the integration team. That doesn't speed up things. And we are becoming a bottleneck for other projects.
It's not always possible, but then as much as possible, you should.
We have some exceptions. We have actually one. I don't want to call it horrible, but it's a HCM integration, which went live beginning of this year, end of last year. And until today, we are fixing issues because there were business scenarios missed, and it is very complex. So that is because the business logic is largely in the integration, because they couldn't manage it any other way. Meaning they always pointed to us to solve their problems.
So it's a nice separation. Wonder Domu would like to know, how do you migrate uploaded data?
From on-premise to cloud. During the project, I don't have pictures of that, but we had also a stream-based approach, meaning there were like functional streams doing their thing, and there was an integration stream I was part of that. And there was also a data migration stream, which worked with all and it was like a vertical across all the functional streams. And they actually extracted the information. And actually, Deloitte was our system integrator for the project. They also had tools to do this, extracted it, and they also had lots of scripts and tools to upload it, mainly using APIs, also using OIC. And lots of Python scripts as well, by the way. So I was not much involved, but it was. I can tell that it was one of the almost bottlenecks for going live. It was one of the hardest things to do, to migrate the data, validate the data, also because our financials are in there. And we have, any publicly listed company need to also report on the figures. And they have to be correct. We cannot lose money during the migration or add money. So it was a very hard one, I can tell you that. But I was not very closely involved in that, to be honest.
Okay. How do you integrate between EPM Cloud and Oracle ERP Cloud?
There are several seeded integrations out of the box. So I know we have several connections between EPM and ERP. I don't think we have any OIC integrations for this, correct? Nada? No. So we're using all out of the box available integrations.
There are directly, I think, inbuilt features in from EPM to ERP connection.
Yeah, so there was no need so far to build an OIC integration.
Okay, so you mentioned that you use Oracle event logging, event analytics. So what is the use case for it?
Event logging, is that the event triggering from SaaS to OIC, or is it more the monitoring side? Yeah,
on the monitoring side.
Monitoring side.
Logging.
Yeah, so logging analytics, yes, we use that mainly for supply chain, but also a bit for HCM. Supply chain, in the old environment, we used EBS and we used Fusion middleware. And we already connected to the TIBCO bus. And we have a separate team which doing the monitoring for all logistics messaging. That's actually, no, there are several people in the team. I don't even know how many, but 4 or 5 at least. And their main concern is making sure that all the transactions happen, nothing gets lost, and everything is transacted in time. And they need a tooling to monitor the thousands of integration runs that we have every hour. And you cannot do that manually anymore. So what we've built is dashboards which tell like incoming and outgoing. And like Anada explained, for every message that is sent, a reply comes back. And so they match, for example, sent and received messages. We have error dashboards. So how many integration runs went into error? Now, sometimes that's a lookup table that has missing value because there's a new iPhone launched or something, whatever. But sometimes it's also like one of the other applications sends wrong data. So they monitor on this 24 hours, no, not 24 hours a day, but extended business days, and make sure that nothing gets lost. Because we promise our customers, if you buy before, I think, 12 o'clock in the working day, the next day it just gets delivered. To be able to do that, you need to monitor closely.
Okay, next questions are for the Oracle team, Kishore and Subhani. Subhani, there's a question on SFTP. What's the file limit and what is the total limit of transfer?
Yeah, file server has 500 GB of storage actually. So it's an embedded file server.
And what is the limitation regarding file size?
File limits, I think I'll share the documentation actually.
Yeah,
I'll share.
okay. And what is the availability of Oracle failover? We announced it for the US data centers, and what are the plans regarding additional data centers?
Yeah, Jürgen, I think I answered this. So this will be certainly in the next calendar year while we are stabilizing our primary region, right? So Ashburn and Phoenix. So once we are doing good there, right? So we'll certainly have other commercial regions rolling out next calendar year.
Yeah, so if you're interested to use it in a European data center or any other ones, please reach out to your local contacts. Thank you very much for the excellent presentation. If you have further questions, you can reach out to the KPN and Oracle team, to Everhard, Ananda, and myself. For further details, please make use of the integration details like the website, the documentation, the blog. And for partners, we run the partner community where you can register to get the latest updates. We have a local team of experts on the integration side. If you are in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, please contact Neil Kominski. For the customers in South America, Paula Mota. For North America, Ravi Chaplani. In India, it's Ravi Pinto. He is also the product manager of Oracle Source Suite. And in Asia, it's Steve Tyndall. And for any kind of partner and event-related questions, feel free to reach out to myself. Thank you very much for the excellent presentation for the whole team. Thanks for attending today's webcast. Once you leave, please complete the online survey, and we are looking forward to welcome you at the next webcast of a success story January 8th and for a product update webcast on December 19th. Thank you very much for attending and hope to see you soon.